hormone pathway test. How many more minutes do we have, Taryn? 12 minutes, okay. I know you guys have seen this graph, so I don't want to belabor this. You can go have fun with it, you can stare at it, you can study it. The point is, the ingredients are listed for you, such that if I'm looking at cholesterol, because I can't write on this, and I can't see it. Anyway, so from cholesterol, the synthesis of androgens are there, okay? You see your testosterone. From testosterone, the body makes estradiol through the aromatase enzyme, correct? Primarily in the ovary in fertile females. The estradiol bioconverts into estrone. I say this is like a car that drives up to the car wash, which is the liver, because patients don't understand all this terminology. You have to speak patient terminology. Estrogen drives around the body, makes you a girl, Betty Boop. I know, but I can't. I would have to jump off stage, and you get it, right? Here, I can do that if you want me to. Okay, here you go. Here's my little estrogen car, drives up to my car wash. I've got 3 doors, 1A1, 1B1, 3A4. See the genetic SNPs? If I have a girl who has a 1B1 genetic SNP, this door is fast, she makes too much 4-hydroxy, she has a tendency towards cancer. Very easy to prove. I don't have to do the genetic tests, I can measure 4-hydroxy, and if it's high, she has a fast front door in the 4-hydroxy door, or the CYP1B1. CYP1A1 is the primary door to make 2-hydroxy. This is the good, this is the bad, this is the ugly estrogen. The 16 is required for bone strength. So if you get somebody's urine metabolite and they have no 16, they're going to get osteoporosis. So they're not all good and bad and ugly. I know we make these little ridiculous lines, but just in general, so you can remember who's the good guy and who's the bad guy, each of them serve their function. So women who go in menopause and they're like have rock solid bones, you're like, gosh, there's this skinny little tiny thing that has like bones of a 20-year-old. I bet she has high 16. She does. It's pretty easy to predict because you should see some osteopenia naturally in women. Every woman loses a little bit of bone strength. So when I see women with rock solid bone densities in the positives, like, oh, I hope she doesn't get breast cancer. I'm always a little bit afraid. Do you understand when I see too good of bones? All right. Now the back door is not only methylation, but backdoor is sulfation and glucuronidation. Nobody's speaking about the 3 critical steps in estrogen detoxification, and you have to recognize them now. So if I'm a bad methylator, I have a genetic MTHFR, I can have a comp defect and be a bad methylator, I can have an MTHFR and be a bad methylator. Guess what? My body is very smart. It's going to tap into an alternate door. The alternate door will be the transsulfuration pathway to make sulfates, cystical sulfate, on the estrogen, making estrone sulfate or DHES sulfate to detoxify the estrogen through the sulfate door. Do you understand? But unfortunately, if you get stuck in transsulfuration, if you're a high dominant transsulfuration pathway girl, you get endometriosis, you get fibroids, you get estrogen dominance. Do you understand? You get more androgens in your body like DHEAS. So all endometriosis gals in this room and everybody with curly hair, you're high in the transsulfuration pathway. Because sulfur in the body makes things spin and curl. It makes your collagen, your tendons tight and spun and strong, okay? So the reason you can move your tendons and your muscles like this is because your tendons are like little slinkies. And your little hair, if your hair can do this, you have slinkies in your hair. But unfortunately, that is too much sulfur. And for those women, they have a tendency to be irritable bowel, bloating, gas, indigestion, endometriosis, or they're sulfur sensitive. So when they eat high sulfur diets, broccoli, cauliflower, onions, kale, soda, red meat, their gut, they have too much acidity. Their small intestines are acidic. They cannot populate lactobacilli in their small intestines. So when you do their stool studies, they have 0 lactobacilli. They have intermittent indigestion because the pancreatic enzymes made by the body will not work in an acidic environment. Pancreatic enzymes are secreted in an inactive state into the duodenum, which is the mixing bowl. Food comes out of the stomach into the duodenum. Here's an acidic environment, and the pancreas makes bicarb to neutralize the mixing bowl, and now your pancreatic acids go chop, 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 butcher knives, chop up your food, and you assimilate your nutrients. So guess what? All endometriosis, sulfur-dominant women now have celiac. They don't necessarily genetically have celiac, but they cannot eat gluten and dairy because their pancreatic enzymes are terrible. They don't work on a regular basis. So what's the most undigestible food out there? Gluten and dairy. Humans do not possess the enzymes to chop up gluten. And I have another bad news for you guys. Anybody who's treating diabetes and using DPP-4 inhibitors like Januvia and what have you, Combiglize, do you know DPP-4 enzymes are the enzymes used to chop up gluten? So what do you think you're going to do when you start playing with these GLP drugs for diabetes and DPP-4 inhibitors? You just knocked out the body's ability to eat gluten. So you can literally make people celiac-like that don't even have celiac by using some of these diabetic drugs. It's frightening. And the guys selling it, they don't even know what their enzymes do. I'm like, do you know what the enzyme DPP-4 does? Yeah, it eats GLP. No, that's not the primary purpose of DPP-4. It's to eat and consume. It's a digestive enzyme for grains. Okay. So if I'm a bad methylator, what I'll do is I'll probably tap into my transsulfuration pathway, which is going to give you a higher need for molybdenum and manganese, because molybdenum converts sulfites to sulfates. Sulfates are what you put on your estrogens for detox. Sulfates is what you put on your catecholamines to clear dopamine, noradrenaline. So these sulfur-dominant people are always anxious. They're always amped. They're overstimulated because they can't clear their catecholamines. They have insomnia. They can't fall asleep at night. They think. They can't get rid of things that need to be sulfated and cleared. And they're tight. Their muscles are tight. Their joints are tight. They're just tight. Okay. The beauty is we can use Ultra Clear Renew. It detoxifies sulfur. It's the best magical intervention for sulfur-dominant people. They need a little bit of molybdenum and manganese that's in the multi, and there's extra manganese and fibroplex for fibromyalgia, and this is all your fibro people, guys. They're all stuck in the transfiguration gear. Fibro is the easiest thing to fix now. Maybe one year we'll do a fibro talk. I love fibromyalgia. It just took me years to figure out how to fix it, but it's really not as bad as it used to be. Okay. With genomics is answering so many questions. So end result is, once you get into the methylated forms of the estrogens, you want to keep the ratios in balance. And then once the estrogens are being detoxified through the intestines, watch your bugs, watch your bacteria, because if they have too many of the bacteria that secrete the glucuronidase, it clips the estrogen, comes back into the body. So this is the purpose of using calcium D-glucarate, right, to protect the glucuronidation. And I've seen mammograms that have come back where the radiologist, I was so impressed. He's like, I am concerned about impaired glucuronidation in this patient because there is aberrant microcalcifications everywhere in this woman's breast. I'm like, oh my gosh, now we're having functional medicine radiologists. Like, this is so exciting. We're in a new era of medicine than ever.